In the right light and at the right time, all things are extraordinary. That's a quote by Aaron Rose. I think that probably is referring to art. I'm not exactly sure. I don't really know who Aaron Rose was. I just Googled a cool quote about light. So that's what I came up with. I'll do some more research on the dude and find out. It's a dude because it's spelled with an A. Anyways, this shave is about light, whether it be the reflectiveness of it or light at the end of the tunnel, if you will, or hope. Hope is often referred to as light. I'll get right into this. I'll quit babbling. I've got another shave featuring quite a bit of stuff from Todd, who sent me a whole box full of stuff. It's amazing. But I wanted to feature first and foremost the soap that he sent. So this is Never Alone. It was kind of a collaboration between A&E as well as the Razor Company, and also some Canadian wet shavers along with other American wet shavers. So North American wet shavers, you could lump them all into that. This soap is pretty important because right on the label, it has the suicide prevention lifeline. If you know anything about Todd, you heard me talk in the last video about him. Therapy, behavioral health, a lot of that is his background. And yeah, so he really was keen, if you will, on getting this soap in the making. And to have that suicide prevention lifeline, both the American and the Canadian version, right on the label was very important. A huge step, though, has been recently that 988 has been designated in the United States as a hotline. You know, we think of 911 when you have an emergency. Well, if you need to talk to somebody, a suicide prevention specialist, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, you dial 988. It's much easier than remembering this suicide prevention lifeline, kind of a long 1-800 number, which is actually still active. There's probably people that have memorized it by heart, and it's still active. But 988, it's been a huge step. My hope is that it will provide light for some folks, provide some hope. See how I brought that all together? But anyways, yeah, so I'm very excited to use this soap. It's kind of an aquatic. I'm sure the dude has just tubs and tubs of this laying around because he helped collaborate and kind of get this going. But barbershop scent, but then also kind of an aquatic, fresh. I don't know if I'd say bright. It, to me, is kind of a midsummer to fall, or you know, between summer and fall type of scent. But yeah, kind of woodsy, but a barbershop scent with just like a hint of some natural scents to it as well. You can see I've already used this several times. I've scooped it out many times. And I've got the matching aftershave splash. A&E aftershave splashes have a lot of like stuff in them. So you shake them up real good and very nourishing and feel really good on the skin. What else? So a brush, another brush that Todd sent me. 2 brushes. This dude sent me 2 brushes. And he sent me this one in particular because it glows. That's right. This is another That Darn Rob shave brush. This one has a synthetic knot, tuxedo knot, big knot, maybe 24, 26 millimeter. It's huge. And it glows in the dark here. And so the razor, before I get to the photo, the razor I'll be using with it is this Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements El Fantasma. This razor also glows in the dark. It is a open comb, very slanted razor. It's made from plastic, and he was like, yeah, he's like, I thought you should have that brush because it matches your razor. So here's a photo. They do both glow. Here's a photo. I had to use long exposure photography to get this cool photo. This is actually a 25-second exposure. If you're at all like a geek, photography geek, kind of like I am, that's at a 4 f-stop 25-second exposure, ISO set to 200. Nerd stats about that photo. But again, tying it all into light. So this razor and this brush. And even this soap that I have, I've got the Glow Cube. This is the Clown Fruit Glow Cube. It glows. Absorb light, and then they store it, and then they give it back off under the right conditions. But yeah, very cool. I'll have more on long exposure photography when I get into the shave. I'll talk about that in a minute. But as far as the rest of the shave goes, I'll be using a Treet blade. Here's the blade right here, a Treet New Edge blade, and that will go in that glowing brush. That's all I got. That's everything that I'll be using. Pretty simple shave for today. Let me switch camera angles now, and let's go down to the lather. Have about an almond-sized amount pressed down into the bowl. It's kind of actually even hard to see because the light yellow of the bowl, it's kind of a tan soap. So they kind of mix together. I should mix this up in the dark, right? And then you can see the glow from the brush. So there's the brush. It's been soaking for a few minutes in some water. Reach around my tripod here and begin the lather. This is my second A&E soap. Well, I had a sample back in the day, but this is my second full tub. So the other one that I have is St. Bart's, and the soap performs exceptionally. Add a little bit more water, but I will get a beautiful lather from this soap. This is a big brush. The knot, I don't know, maybe 24, 26 inches. And this is a big bowl. It works very well. The consistency I get with A&E soap is very much like this. Yogurt, I hear that. Hear that used a lot as a descriptor. Very dense, tiny, tiny bubbles. All right. The scent, you really have to kind of get in there. It's like a medium scent strength. It's not like it's filling up my whole bathroom with the scent. But once it goes on your face, you really feel it and smell it. Okay. I think that works. I think that'll work. That'll give me 2 beautiful passes. All right. Let me center back up before I give the old thumbs up. There we go. Centered up. Boom. See you back up top. All right. Welcome back up. So I'm going to use just a little bit of this glycerin bar as a pre-shave. I've already washed my face, but I could use that glow cube that Phoenix Artisan clown fruit, but then the scents would kind of clash. It's a real sweet scent, whereas this Never Alone is more just kind of a barbershop, kind of earthy, like I said. So I'm going to forgo the glowing soap and just go with this glycerin soap. But it's kind of the same idea. You just use this as a pre-shave. And I've actually already washed my face with that bar. And this, though, I will leave on as a pre-shave. And that will give me the craziest lather you've ever seen. How's everybody doing? How are things? It's been warm. It's been in the 90s here in Wisconsin, which is kind of rare. We don't get a lot of 90-degree days. I just mowed my yard the other day and I came in and my shirt was soaked. It was just sweat. It was gross. But I prefer the heat. I'll take the heat any day over the bitter cold that is soon to come. Todd watched my last video. And, you know, that badger brush that he sent me, that darn Rob badger brush, he was like, don't be afraid, man, to like push it in there and splay it out, you know? I was being a little too gentle with it. And he was like, nah, get after it, man. So I've used it a few times since, and he's right. It's such a dense, thick knot that you just gotta like really press it in there to get a good lather. So yeah, very, not straight up, this isn't tropical by any means, but it is kind of a light scent, barbershop, but not traditional barbershop. It's good. It's kind of an all-season scent. I wouldn't describe it as a winter scent or a summer scent. Calming, and I think that's kind of what they were going for, because again, this is about suicide prevention. I believe they're re-releasing this. It was kind of a last year scent, 2021, and I think it's being re-released as we head into the fall from the Razor company. And I think that's where you could exclusively get it the first time. Haven't shaved in a couple of days. And typically when I let it grow out like this, I prefer like a mild first pass and then more aggressive second pass. I usually use like an adjustable razor. But although it's a slant and although it's open comb, this razor is actually fairly mild. Or it's just a good kind of in between. I've featured this razor several times. It's been used in several videos. It is one of my favorites. I've even considered picking up another color. I know there's like some that are clear. There's some that are like red and blue. There's even like a clear one with like green, like metal. It's not metal, it's plastic, but it looks like that old school like metal flake from like the 50s. Like a hot rod or something. And they all have monster names. Like, I can't think of them right now. El Monstro and stuff like that. It's all kind of a throwback to like the 50s and 60s, those really low budget like horror movies. Monster horror movies. So it's talking about been talking about light. I've been talking about long exposure photography, which is something I really love. Like long exposure photography, you can do some cool things. You can play with moving light, like this. You can, it's all about the shutter being open for a long time. And one thing that I enjoy is like night photography and photographing the night sky. Catching the light that not only our sun but other stars give off. The other night, I attempted to photograph the northern lights. Here are a couple of my shots. You can't really see them. It's so hit or miss. Like, honestly, the only way to like really get a good photo or to see the northern lights is to just be out there every single night and check. There's websites that show you when conditions are best. But like conditions were technically really good the other night, and I didn't really get or see much of anything. I did go out on a golf course. There's a golf course just right down the street from my house. So I went and stood in the middle of the golf course in the middle of the night to try to get some photos. And even though the sky was clear and I was facing north and it was very dark, still just wasn't quite right. It's just how it goes sometimes. But I have gotten some pretty cool night photos. There was a comet back in 2020, if anyone remembers that, called Neowise. Neowise, I think is what it was called. I got a couple of cool photos of that. Airplanes or anything that's flying through the air looks really cool with long exposure photos. And then yeah, you can do some cool things with you can do some, it basically just, you know, enhances light. Like this brush, if I were to turn the lights out, I'll do it real quick, I'll turn on the lights, and like my eye can kind of see it glowing. Yeah, you can see it over here. I'll do this other camera. But you can kind of see it glowing. Not as good as that picture, obviously, right? And here, I'll grab, look, the razor is actually a little bit brighter. Do it over here. Yeah, the razor is actually a little bit brighter. I gotta turn the light on to see where to set it down. Okay. But yeah, like those long exposure photos enhance the glow a whole lot more. But anyways, I don't know, just something I have a million hobbies, guys. And one of them is taking weird photos. Sorry. And I have seen the Northern Lights. They don't look anything, or at least not here in the United States, like they do in photos. You see photos and stuff. Those are enhanced. Those are long exposure photos and stuff. Or you can go really, really far north. I mean, you can go like to the Arctic Circle or the subarctic circle, or yes, not subarctic, the sub-Antarctic circle, the Antarctic circle in the south, and you can see the southern lights. The further north you go, the better you'll see them. I've heard of people going to Iceland and Alaska, northern Canada, and you can really see those northern lights. But in my few years here in Wisconsin, I've never seen, it's never been like breathtaking. There was one time that it was, 2 times, that it's been pretty impressive, but it's never been like the photos. If anyone is struggling with depression or suicidal thoughts, try to think of the beauty in this world. Try to think of the Northern Lights and just the awe that they bring. Yeah, I hope that 988 will be a huge tool in bringing light to people's life. Am I beating the light thing to death too much? What else? Fantastic shave. This is a great razor. The family and I went to the fair the other day. That was fun. Little regional fair. I used to love going to the fair when I was a kid. Best cheese curds I've ever had in my life. Wisconsin, cheese curds are like, it's like the first thing a kid eats. They're proud of their cheese curds here, and it's like the Lions Club booth at the fair. They're so good. Nothing else comes even close to how good those cheese curds are. I remember when I had my very first cheese curd, December 23rd, 2006. That was the same day that I went to my first game at Lambeau Field to see the Packers defeat the Minnesota Vikings. And there's a bar across the street from Lambeau called the Stadium View Bar and Grill, and I had a cheese curd there. And that was the first time I'd ever had a cheese curd, so that's cool. Most Wisconsinites do not remember the first time they had a cheese curd. Because like I said, they were like a fetus. Very, very young at least. Okay. The Aftershave pretty much matches the soap. You know, I've got a lot of soap and Aftershave combos, and they like differ a little bit. This is pretty much true to, they're the same. No burn at all, which means a good shave. And it means a good post-shave. They call this like a juice because it's a little bit thicker than a splash, but not near as thick as a balm. When you give it a good shake like I've done, it kind of turns white or like a cream color. That's the same with the St. Bart's that I own. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed me talking about night photography and long exposure photography, something that I find very interesting. But also, again, I hope you heard the message talking about suicide prevention and overall mental health awareness. So thanks everybody for watching. I will catch you again very soon.